Hey everybody, it is the ginger with the most soul, the true survivor, Mac the Knife, and I'm coming at you today with 5 common mistakes that Shoto players make and how to improve upon them. Now in today's episode, I've brought you the Shoto chord's best, the Mind of the Fist, the 13th Ace, Bean, and Ye Old Labrys. We are offering you something incredible. Now, Discord has rolled out something called server subscriptions, as you can see right here, and it's cut into 3 tiers. First tier is golden member access, where you can get early access to videos or unreleased content, custom emotes, whatever. That can grant you access to the whole 2-hour podcast that we're doing right here that's going to be cut up into little parts and put onto YouTube. So if you don't want to wait in line like a schmuck, go ahead and tap that. Only $3.99, $2.99. I don't even know what I set the price as, but real golden one. The real golden members is that tier 2 subscription, which grants you monthly coaching from not just me, but 3 others. The 3 other voices that you hear in this video: Ace, Labby, and Bean. We do VOD reviews, we do matches. You're going to get 4 different perspectives on your gameplay and how to improve upon them every month just by clicking that and supporting the channel, the Discord, and my whole entire community. And tier 3 is something special if you haven't checked it already. Shove it. Yeah, custom coaching by one of the best Kazuya Terry players of all time. Go check it out. Let's just get right into the video. Enough of me talking like an idiot. Well, you're going to hear more of that. So, yeah. Let's get to the topic at hand, huh?
Yeah. Let's go, boys.
All right. So, before Bean got in, I was saying we're going to go round robin. We're going to start with, what did I say? We'll go Ace, Labby, me, and then Bean. We'll bring up 1 point on here. But do you want to go by order of significance?
I mean, we could do significance. We could do by personal taste towards the issue, because I know exactly what I want my first fucking point to be.
Oh, God. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Go wild.
All right. All right, folks. Hi, it's Ace. I'm going to tell you my number 1 most hated issue with Ken mains and Ryu mains, Shoto mains in general. If I see you down tilting when the opponent is at short hop or higher height above you, you deserve to get hit. Please, for the love of God, realize that you have up tilt, heavy up tilt, you have backdash, light F tilt, you have up smash, you have shoryu just to hit them, you have any number of aerials that you can even do to hit the opponent above you. But if you insist upon using down tilt to, as some try to explain it away with, I'm going to catch their landing, you won't, because at short hop height, they see you down tilting, they have more than enough time to react to you pressing the wrong button, and then you will get hit. And I will stand there and go, you earned that. Now stay in disadvantage until you die. Because that's usually what happens.
But Ace, that's where all the big combos come from, is my down tilts. I need my down tilts, dude. I feel like it's more of like a conditioning thing. Like, you're like, oh, this will, if they jump in on me, and if they come a little short, I can just down tilt and get into advantage and fucking win. Here's my shit. Because that's all that, like, when you start off with Ken, right? That's what you want. Light down tilt.
I mean, the issue with that then is that if they land short, your down tilt's still not going to hit them because down tilt's range is trash. And if you go for heavy down tilt instead, A, you're going to be standing in the end lag of that move for an eternity and a half for them to hit you. B, the hitbox of that move is not great for hitting anywhere except directly in front of you. Mm-hmm. And the things you can combo off of for that move, from Ken in particular, is not much. You get like Hado maybe. You get Tatsu maybe. You get Roundhouse if the opponent DIs like shit. That's it. You can't get anything else from that. And if you're Ryu, you get even less. You'll get Tatsu if the opponent doesn't DI. You get Fireball if the opponent doesn't DI. But if your opponent is already DIing in any capacity, not many of our follow-ups are going to work.
It's a classic thing in like fighting games when you're first starting out. So like what I've learned is like an old KOF like guide that would explain like how to actually play for like super noobs. Like you've never played a fighting game in your life, and they went over this concept, and it makes complete sense, and it goes over all fighting game side. Jump-ins beat crouching. Crouching beats standing moves. Standing moves beat jump-ins. It's like the 3-part rock, paper, scissors right there. It's like the most like foundation for a fighting game. And it shows with that, especially when you said the hitbox only hits directly in front of you for a standing opponent, not for somebody jumping in on you.
Mm-hmm. You can replace the down tilt with other moves. The ones I listed earlier. A really great combo you can replace a down tilt combo with, as Ken, is up tilt. E tilt or F tilt, depending on which one you get. And then from there, you can choose whichever one of those routes is going to happen. With P tilt, you can move into crescent kick. Or you can just go into crescent kick immediately from the up tilt. And from the F tilt, you can move into an aerial, into a fireball, into a Tatsu, into a focused tech chase, into following the option and reading their DI, their mashing out of hit stun, whatever they do. There are so many better things you can get from not just relying upon down tilt, aka one of our more difficult to land combo starters.
Perfect.
All right. I'm glad I got that out of my system.
It's off your chest. It's off the chest. Comments?
All right.
Yeah, stop using 2A too much. He's right. It's terrible when they're just jumping above you, you're pressing down tilt, and you're doing like 6 of them because you just be like, oh, funny down tilt. And they come with the landing area and you die at 0. That's not fun.
Well, now, Lavi, what is your one tip? Let's hear it.
I was thinking about it, and I came to realize I absolutely despise people that only try to kill Tatsu as Ryu. You have a DP at your disposal, and you have a bagger at your disposal. Both really strong tools to punish stuff in neutral. One from the air, and DP has an anti-air too, but mainly from the ground. Or up at 1 DP is also an option, of course. My point is, DP kills at like 90. Just rough estimate. If you die out, normal weighted character dies at like 90%. Tatsu is like 130 to 140%, which is already like a 50% gap. And even the worst DI on DP and the best DI on Tatsu is there's still a 10% gap in which DP kills earlier. If you combine that with the fact that you can P-jab, or like you can do some sort of down air combo into DP, you get kill percents from like 50%, 60%, whereas Tatsu is like 130 from heavy down tilt. That is also counterplayable with SDI, and you can, a certain way you can just tech the move. You have to adjust for the floatiness. Whereas if you just P-tilt or P-jab, or even jab 1-2, they just die. That's a guaranteed kill. You can also make better use of the iframes if you don't hit confirm. You can just challenge the move, whereas Tatsu, opponents who are in the air and different shot up heights, they can still hit you from above or pancake under your Tatsu. Whereas that's very unlikely if you're using DP as Ryu. I think that's pretty much it. Use DP, not Tatsu.
I've been getting a little experimental with my Tatsu when it comes to stuff like that. Because I found out when we were doing the clanking video that nothing clanks with that. So I don't know why, and it's instilled an awful habit in me of just randomly Tatsuing. I never used to do it, and now I'm just randomly Tatsuing to challenge like a standing normal or some sort of aggressive option, even from ledge. And I'll call it out on stream sometimes when I'm doing it too. Like if I'm hanging from ledge, I'll just say, wake up Tatsu, and I wake up Tatsu, and it kind of does work in those regards. But it's still some horrible things for me, really bad. So yeah, I agree with you. You have different kill options at your disposal. Better things.
Definitely. That's the classic wake up into funny. It's you can do wake up DP, you can do ledge get up Buster Wolf, you can do Casio Rage Drive. It's all the same thing basically. Your opponent is not ready, they're ledge trapping, they're turning the brain off, and just punch them for it.
Cool.
That you really just gotta focus on using on not limiting your focus for what move you're killing with. You gotta really keep your options open and be aware of how your kit is, what's stale, what's not, positionally where you are on the stage. Back air kills at ledge at like goddamn 70 on a midweight.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and
from center stage, it's probably gonna be an additional like 20 to 30. So it's gonna be a DP.
Okay.
Like that back air is a great kill move. Forward smash, great kill move. Up smash, comparable to like a properly DI'd DP. There are things that are not Tatsu that are easier to confirm into, or use raw, or use as a whiff punish to get kills at percents that aren't really, really high. And even if you get them really, really high, there become more options. You get up tilt up air. You get up tilt HU tilt. You get up tilt bear, up tilt dare at ledge. You
Like
get so many other
Tatsu. Yeah.
that too. There are so many other options that are not down tilt, heavy down tilt Tatsu, or heavy down tilt Tatsu that are more likely to work and kill at a more reasonable percent that the Shotos to exploit, or else you have to start winning neutral more, and at higher percents that becomes a little harder because, as we know, when players get to that percent range, they start doing things that you have no idea why they're doing them, but they're doing it and it works. You're like, I wasn't planning on stopping that, and then you get hit.
Now, when would you think like down tilts to Tatsu would be more like actual? Like, when would you, like, I usually use that if I'm like pushed to the corner and I somehow get down tilts off. I want to use my Tatsu to just kind of reclaim stage control, get them airborne a little bit, especially if it's a stage that has platforms. If I'm like talking like PS2, small battlefield. That's what I kind of use that more often. And if kill percentage, yeah, of course, obviously, if you know you can get the guarantee. But like, when would it be more like a better decision to use Tatsu instead of fireballs?
Tatsu deals slightly more damage than fireballs, and you keep your fireballs more unstable, and you can set up a juggle situation, you can put them off stage, or you can use light Tatsu for some gimmicky tech chases, or just to get a good like 16% at low percent of down smash, or like heavy down tilt against fast followers.
Okay.
Also, medium Tatsu kits off the side then already, but
Yeah.
that is more applicable on stages with smaller blast zones.
Yeah. Yoshi's. Yoshi's. But that shitty fucking, I hate that little slope. Goddamn slope. All right. Nice. Mine would be, I'm juggling between two that I want to talk about, but I think I'll go with the, what is it? Lack of jump callouts. I know it's like a weird one to kind of talk about. I mean, it's such a broad stroke, but when I think about it, I get a lot of stuff. I only play Ryu. I want to put that down. Like, I'm not a Ken player, but most of my stuff that I'll get off like a nice down tilts to Shaku, the combo that Ace loves so much, I'll just go in, run in, and I know that they see me approaching. They're already in the air. They're not going to air dodge down. That means they're right in front of me. So most of the time, I would say 3/4 of the time, it's most likely jump. And for those, I have a bad tendency of doing back airs, but up air is like your best friend in some scenarios. And a lot of the time, like if you're down tilting on a shield, what is the escape option for them? They could roll out, sure, but that's just, okay, we're setting neutral. No. Most of the time, they're like, I can fucking damage this. I'm going to just jump up in the air with a nice little short hop and just drop right down on you. Boom. So if I'm like on shield doing down tilts, I call out a jump, a little up air, right out of down tilts. Oh no, I know this person's going to jump. I'm going to call them out, a nice little up air, and get myself more advantage from that. And there's other situations like, they're on a platform, they're in shield, you're right underneath them, they're expecting you to down air. So what are they going to do? They're going to stay in shield, you can hop onto the platform, and if they see you hop onto the platform, you're going to either drop off platform or jump. Try and challenge them. Challenge them with a nice up air, and if not, fast fall back down to the ground, because the time you get back down to the ground, you are already auto cancel. That thing is a phenomenal move. But also, if I'm going to talk about other sorts of jump callouts, yeah, I guess I'll just end it with that one then.
Do you notice something?
What?
All three of us had something to do with the opponent jumping. Just saying. Let's see if Ian breaks the cycle.
Just be more aware of when your opponent wants to jump, especially with you throwing fireballs out. It's all they want to do. Get away from you with jumps because you're shitty in the air, so call them out for it.
Yeah. Definitely want to see more people like pressure with, short hop up airs, but you also definitely want to make sure that you're keeping in mind the angle the opponent is coming at, because if you see someone coming from a slightly lower, more diagonal angle, who will have, better aerial mobility, your Yoshis, your Puffs, your Wario's, etc., then you don't really want to try to go at them with your up air anti-airs and your air to airs for that. You want to definitely keep in mind that one you can probably do like a fair or other air to airs as air and anti airs with your aerials and things like that, sort of bearing in mind how can they approach me in the air, what position are they in, what will provide me the most safety and the best trade in these scenarios, so that I'm not getting myself hurt unnecessarily in the process or put into disadvantage for a trade if I try to make that happen.
And I get that. I know that feeling too. Like, especially with like puffs or like some sort of floaties that like to stay in the air too. Yeah, back off and throw Hadokens too, which is not that bad of a move, especially if you're well spaced. They're in the air. If they get hit, they can't DI out of that shit. They're going to either get hit or trade with a fireball. Oh, whatever. You're already a fair distance away. They can't do anything. So get used to calling out jumps either with your air to airs or with a fireball. I just highly suggest just use Hadouken. Anytime they're in the air, just try and use Hadouken. Unless you have them in a state where they're in disadvantage, you're in advantage, and you're applying some pressure, then you can start using some shockeys. Shockeys! Bean, what do you got?
So the main thing I want to talk about, I'm not going to continue the chain of jumping because
what the fuck?
the two people already talked about it. I don't need to, beat the dead horse anymore. But the main thing I want to talk about specifically relates to aggressive Ryu players who really like to push the offense and kind of skip the neutral phase in general. One thing I'll notice is that these are the type of players, and if this applies to you, you shouldn't feel bad because this is a very common archetype in all different types of fighting games. It's also known as Street Fighter V's Diamond Ryu. They don't want to hold their own. They don't want to hold somebody else pressuring them. So they want to always take their turn back at any time they can, which leads to really horrible habits. When you get to a higher level of play, you're gonna notice that I keep on losing when I get pressed on and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then you're going to look at the VOD review and you're going to see, well, you got hit on this frame and the very next frame you started inputting a DP. So I think there's a problem between those two. You're going to figure that out eventually. And that's a really huge issue when you don't know how to hold somebody else's turn and don't know when to take your turn back. So commonly, people don't want to think about when their turn is coming back. So they're just going to mash to try and get their turn back. What you really need to do is you need to analyze the situation so you don't put yourself into something worse. Because a lot of players, I'll see them mash the A button to try to get a starter out or down tilt or DP out of hit stun. And it'll work if the opponent is throwing strings at you that aren't exactly fully true, or you're able to land in between and you have some, time to input your frame 4 move. But most of the time, you're going to probably get hit if the opponent is catching onto you. And I feel like this applies to Ryu players, but also applies to Ken players, because a very important part of being able to play bait and punish is you need to also know when it is your turn. If you don't know when is your turn, you're going to constantly try to mash at a disadvantage to take your turn back or try to snag a cheeky kill or do something like that, and you're just going to get constantly baited and punished over and over, and you're going to keep on doing it because you think you can just get your turn back the next time. And alongside this point, I also want to bring up the a very concerning one for me is neutral and consistency of neutral. I'll see players when they're playing the game after, say, the first stock, maybe about 20 seconds in, they'll just completely stop playing neutral. After 20 seconds, if, not one person or the other person hasn't done anything, they're going guns blazing. They don't care. A very important part of being a Shoto is you need to know why you are a good character in the neutral. And you can't just throw that privilege away. You have a very potent neutral, and if you just go in guns blazing after 20 seconds, you're really throwing away the potential that you have to rack a lot of damage in the early neutral phase, so you have to do less work when you're actually in your advantage state. And I feel like when people are, going in after 10, 15, 20 seconds, they just don't want to, actually play slow game. They want to do something, cool, do something awesome. I want to hit him with a Nair, down tilt, Shaku, go to a car cancel, hit him with that dog ass Inferno 5000. You can't do that all the time. There has to be a balance between what's boring and what makes the game fun. And if you have a lot of stake put in to just mashing all the time and just always trying to take your turn back and just going for flashy stuff all the time, your fundamentals are going to grow really weak. And you're going to have this amazing advantage state. You could kill somebody in 2 interactions. You'll have godlike reads. But, the moment this person stops approaching you and just starts whiff punishing you, your entire gameplay is going to fall apart. And you're going to just be lost for words. You're not going to know what's going to happen. It's going to be like they're God.
Mm-hmm. It's like you basically made yourself into a glass cannon by trying to snag an advantage state all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I agree with that.
The main problem with Shotos is that... Oh, you go.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to say, and the main problem with Shotos is we're not good as glass cannons. We don't work that way.
Mm-hmm. Get you off stage and then it's fucking over. You have to understand that. So the more you try and overextend, the more the punishes are going to come because they understand you're just being too aggressive. You're not playing your neutral out. And there you go. You just get blasted.
This covers a lot of other points as well. Like mashing something out of disadvantage. It's always something mashing out of disadvantage. People always have this scary image in mind where, okay, if I don't mash something, my opponent will style me, so I have to mash something. And even if you get mashed on, that's okay. You still have 2 stocks left probably. You get your information, and you know how to counterplay the next 3 to 4 interactions next time by taking 1 L.
True. All right. Ace, you got another one? I feel like we should just do, since this is such a fucking rare occasion for all of us to be here on this time, do you want to just run through all of them? Do you guys got the time? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As many as we can.
Sure. All right. I'm going to continue my next string with the other Ace classic. For both Shotos, and that is, so help me God, you have a functional Z button. Please use it.
What do you mean? A Z button? What is that?
I won't say that it's amazing. I will say that it is good enough. I will say it does the job that it needs to do. That job is fucking grab people. Please. Do it. What you can do with grab is really useful for how Shotos play in terms of what we want to do. You want to use the grab to create positional pressure. You want to use forward throw or back throw, get people off stage. You want to use up throw or down throw to get people positionally above you. And if they're DIing horrendously, you can probably get a follow-up on it at lower percents. Or what you can do is you can set up a juggle situation. Or what you can also do is you can still pummel them a bunch when they're at, mid-high percents. You can get about 2 to 3 roundabouts, mid-up percents to get more damage on them and then throw them. By pummeling them, you unstale the moves that you've already been using. This way, you can more safely use high damaging moves like Shoryuken and Tatsu and Roundhouse, Down Smash, and other things like this that you use all the time at low percents to get up damage. And then you can grab them and pummel them 2 to 3 times to push those moves farther down the stale queue so they can be ready again roundabouts time that kill percent wraps around and you have to use them again. And you don't want to have to worry about, oh god, is this move stale enough to let them live? Or is it far enough down or is it fresh again and I can use it to hit them with it? please press grab. Please, for the love of God. It's
So
not that much to ask.
you took away everything from my next point, which was going to be tomahawk more, because I was going to bring up that alongside, like, I feel like Kazi is the only person that has grabs that do tremendous damage, that do like insane. You're like, what? That was 30. That was 40. What the hell was that? But I feel like our back throws do a comparable amount of damage. As much as like 15, 17% on stale. So what you can do in those scenarios where you do just jump in, empty hop in and get a grab off, you lower that stale queue, boom, 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 a couple pummels, that's 3 pummels and a back throw. What's that going to lead to? About 20 damage, 25 damage at most. That's fairly good damage. And lowering your stale queue, it's great utility tool that people don't really like understand or utilize that much. It's not really about like, yeah, sure, it's good for positioning. You don't get anything off your grab, but you do get something tremendous off your grab, and it's not staling your normals or your specials by wasting them by poking or whatever it may be. So that was going to be my next point, and you took all the air out of it, Ace. God damn it. But no.
I'm not sure why you weren't expecting me to talk about grabs. That's like my other number 2 things.
No, I definitely understand. It needs to be something that.
But also, here's another thing that I just remembered that I should totally bring up when talking about grabs.
Ooh,
is our shield pressure. Shield pressure does not just mean pressing every button on your controller on the opponent's shield and hoping they don't press a button back. No. Shield pressure is encouraging your opponent to basically feel fear from your presence near them. So either they hold block and then you get a grab and then you hit them, or they hold shield and you manage to pop it so that you can get a free punish. Or you basically want to encourage them to interrupt the flow of their play with your approach. That is the purpose of making your opponent shield or turning off their shield, is that you want to force them to not have the flow when it is their turn.
Mm-hmm.
And as we all know, the turn in Smash is a little bit more ambiguous than in your standard 2D fighter, because in 2D fighters, it's a simple back and forth. You press buttons, the game's going to make you back off after a while, it's going to get stale, it's going to get you're going to get pushed back, and then somebody else's turn starts. In Smash, that's not always necessarily true. You can use grabs to maintain your turn semi-artificially in a way that you can't in other games.
And I get that, like, the point about shield pressure is like tremendous, because what do people want to do against Shotos? I mean, we have great frame data. And we have tremendous ground game and things that make you want to stay in shield. And to mix that up with a grab is huge. That's an excellent point. It just kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone. God damn it, Ace. Still my thunder.